Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, guys. Please make sure you hit that like button. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Please make sure you guys hit that notification bell on the right hand side. Like always, we do go live each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you for tuning in to KL Culture Radio, guys. What's popping? Like what's cracking? What's going on?
It was good.
It's good. I'm good over here, man. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get it.
Go ahead, Jordan. Do your thing.
All right, people. What's going on? What's going on, people? Glad you joined to the show. Happy to see you guys. Happy Wednesday. We're gonna get right into it. So there was a clip that was kind of viral this past week of a man who was raised by a single mother, and he was dating I believe he was dating a woman who was a single mother every day, and he had and it was on the show. I can't remember what show it was. We're gonna play clips. We're gonna play clips of it. And he's talking about how he does prefer than single mothers, by him being raised by a single mother, and him considering himself as a high value man. He feels at his preference that he doesn't want to date single mother, and kind of not not to repeat, like say, kind of repeat the cycle of David, like say, David giving somebody, getting pregnant, and then they see mothers again. And we really want to talk about why a lot of men who have this conversation like this, or men have a preference of if a man that's basically a single, he want to date or marry a single mother, and when a man has his preference and say that, they get shamed, because they didn't want to do that. And they really get shamed a lot. And, and it causes problems on men. It's like, hey, if they have their own preference, they have their own preference, but women feel like you should date a single mother regardless of who your preference is, and that's how it is right now. And that's what man is always suspect is like, hey, they make their own preference, and they try to do the right thing by themselves, but they always get beat on something. But we're definitely gonna get into it. I can't play the video. After that, we're gonna chop it up. Go ahead.
Asked for another date with him. What was the turn on?
Specifically, the turnoff was when I asked that question about would you date a single mother? And Jacoby, you proceeded to tell me that basically you're a high value man and you are too good for a single mother. However, you did also tell me that you were raised by a single mother, which is profound.
Yeah, my apologies. I don't know what's going
For
on.
me to think that a single mother's not good enough for you, but it's good enough for a woman to raise you. That's unfair, and it's very insensitive to women out there who have children.
All right, so just because it's a cycle, I wanted to continue.
It doesn't have to continue.
So what I'm saying is that
it's more about why would you cut off and say that single women are not on the same level?
What you're supposed to learn from is history. So
What's that got to do with it?
Now, if he had a child and made that statement, then you can feel some kind of way, because that would be a bit hypocritical. And maybe he should have some compassion for single mothers.
I don't understand what's going on. Hello?
Was it
Yeah,
the
but
internet?
remember it was raining. It was raining earlier in the area.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And maybe he do, but that doesn't mean he has to date a
Hold on a minute, fellas.
single
Okay.
parent because his mother was a single parent. That's unreasonable because he is not his mother's fault. He should not have to endure what his mother went through. The goal is wherever you have fallen short, you want your children to measure up. Whatever you have failed, you want your children to pass. You don't want your children to repeat your mistakes. You want your children to learn from your mistakes and apply them to their life so they can be better versions of you.
So yes, she was on point on that. But yeah, like I said, a lot of women who are single mothers who have, have baby daddies and they trying to date, and when some guys have a preference of, not dating single moms, like I said, it gets shamed and looked frowned upon, and and it causes a lot of commotion and everything, and it feel like women feel like like I said, men need to date single mother regardless of how they feel, but if ladies say otherwise. So what do you feel about these fake fellas? I'm gonna pass for you guys. What do you feel about this topic?
I'm trying to get the. So what's the idea of the topic? So I kind of get the idea of it. You talking about single mothers, or what's your preference of the topic?
I can't hear you.
Oh, my bad. Put on mute. The topic is of, like I said, when men have a preference of not dating single mothers, or what we showed it earlier, some women they get offended. They get offended of that. They feel like men should be dating single regardless of what your mother did or what they did in the past, or maybe they had made a mistake of sleeping with somebody, having a baby, and it didn't work out and everything. And so, the man was saying, is like I said, like, with his mother, what the lady was saying is like, your child, like, let's say for me, I was raised by a single mother, but I know that when I was growing up, my mom, for a fact, it's like, I know when, like I say, if I had a girlfriend or something like that, she wouldn't want me to date somebody with kids and everything. If for me, she wanted me to date somebody that's, find somebody that's single, have no kids, and start building on that, start getting married with a legacy, which I did, and my mom was proud of me of that, or take another route, like my little brother, he's with somebody and that's some single mother, but he wants to take that responsibility, which I have no problem with that, and and he's doing a great job with that. He's been in a relationship for 5 or 6 years. So there are some men who will take that job just to provide it, to feel like do the right thing to do. For me, it's like, I'm gonna take this route. I'm finding somebody that's single with no kids. I'm gonna, build my legacy and just have my whole kids for myself. That's like the topic of it.
No, I got you now. I just wanted to get the whole idea of it. So here's the thing. In this, when I say in this space, I mean in YouTube and social media realm and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and Twitter and Rumble. A lot of men are teaching a lot of men in this decade do not date single mother because of such and such and such. One is because of the aspect of the child. You're gonna have to deal with the quote unquote child's burden. 2, you might have to deal with the baby daddy. 3, you might have to deal with the responsibility of handling and managing a woman with child. Now, here's the thing: most of my women I have dated in the past were single mothers. I'm just being totally honest with you. Did I have the best result of it? No. I had a lot of issue when it came to the baby father. I had a lot of issue with the woman not responded. I had issue with the woman not communicated. And I also had issue when it came to the child because sometimes the child was very small in their adolescence. So they look to me towards being the one, a quote unquote provider, even though that's not my child. But do I bash man for dating single mother? No, because men gonna continue to date single mothers. Men gonna continue to be stepfathers. It's just a well-known fact. It's nothing that can be stopped. But for this generation, I think a man has to be more aware of that. If you date a single mother, chances are the father's still gonna be in the lifestyle. And I know a lot of women, when they tend to get older, they tend to teach their sons something totally different. But when they was young, they was okay to date someone that was not even the father of their kids. So I think it's a lot of hypocritical when it comes to that aspect. But I'm gonna let Hakeem go in. But that's my only thing. I think men gonna continue to date single mothers, but there is some men that do kind of hints and stay away from that area because of the simple fact of the child and the baby father. Go ahead, Hakeem.
You want to know something? This is a real touching subject for a lot of people, especially a lot of our queens who are in the dating market. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna give you my perspective. Am I like delayed?
You're good. A little bit, but you're good. Maybe a second or two, but you're good. You're good.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you my perspective. So you're talking to somebody who has dated nothing majority of single mothers, and as I become older, you start to have different perspective. Now I'm coming from a person who had a little bit of experience. Now everybody gonna have their own preference and some stuff like that. It's one of them type of things, like I could list a bunch of things where you want to see what the benefit of being with somebody who already has kids. Every woman going to have some type of benefit. But whatever a man wants, you have to want what you want. And that's the thing. Now, I know for a fact the situations that you have to deal with, and I have to say this because if I don't say this, I don't want to sound like I'm being very focusing on just women, because I know tone and opinion is very big, so I don't want y'all to get misconstrued. So here's the thing: a man who has children would be seen hypocritical to say they don't want to date single mothers. Let's just get that out the way. Now, for a man who's been raised a certain kind of way, raised in a two-parent household, and he wants to mimic that, it's not a problem for him wanting to mimic what he wants. And who is a man who saved himself and saved his body to be able to build his own family. Now, coming from the experiences that I have and people that I know, I'm not going to try to draw this out. There's a lot of nuances about dating a single mother that you got to be built different to be able to handle. You know what I'm saying? You can't beat the cat. You can't beat him. You can't tell him what to do. You could pay for them. You could love them, but there's certain things that you can't cross the line. So, and I'm only expressing to you what I hear men talk about. So if it's this situation, some men say, okay, if I can't beat him, I can't slap him, I can't rear them. Some women are going to say, why would you even want to do that? Sometimes you might want to mimic what's going on. Or sometimes, and let's preference this, we are our parents in so many ways. And what the ladies say, we're going to want to do better. I can sit here and tell you that what my dad did is not what he wants me to do. Go ahead, fellas. I want to see what's up with this situation. I don't know why I'm lagging like that.
For me,
it's probably your background. It's probably your background, Hakeem. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Too much memory. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, for me, in my life, I never dated a baby mama. Never. I never experienced dating a baby mama, but I have seen, people, family members, friends, and this around of people, dating baby mamas. It goes back all the way to high school too. And when I see this, like, when I saw stuff like this, it's just like you say, it was like a check for me. It's like, I don't want to be like that. I don't, like I say, if I had a girlfriend or, I want a girlfriend that's, I can have, that's single with no kids, because I just see a lot of stuff with men dating baby mamas, just seeing family members, friends, all that type of stuff. Yeah. It did not look good, and it did not, go well, and it, sometimes it didn't end well. It was always, some type of argument. Like you guys' point says, it's like you can't do nothing with the kid. You might have problems like with the baby daddy. It could just be a lot for a lot of people. I know for me, knowing me myself, it's like I can't do it. if I got you got to deal with multiple personalities, which is especially like with the baby father and trying to be cool with them. That's to me that's a lot. Because you after that baby daddy, if you can if the child act some type of way, if you can put discipline on them, and sometimes a man might agree with that, or the man might not agree with that, nor the woman might agree with that, because like I say, you're not the father of that child. So for me, it's like, what, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to put my situation out like that, and and my mom, my grandfather, my uncle, they kind of still, for me, it's like, I'm, Jordan, go to school, just get out of Pontiac and to really explore, the world and everything, because like I said, living in Pontiac, Michigan, that's the majority of what you see there. It's really, single mothers not doing good. Now, I would say, like my family, I gotta say this, in certain families, I can say my family, I might have some cousins that might be, single mothers. But the thing about that is, they're, my majority of my cousins, they're really good, people, and they're looking forward to get married, and they want to be submissive, and if they're cool with that person to get married with, they will allow that man to do discipline measures and everything, and also try to be cool with the baby daddy as well. So so like I said, it just depends on. For me, it depends on, the background of woman. Like I said, what the background of woman is, maybe she have like maybe the baby daddy, they just had like a mishap, the kids, and maybe they wasn't right for each other, but they co-parented well, or maybe the parent, maybe the father, maybe deceased or something like that. So to me, it's a lot of correlations of, a woman that's single mother is she looking to, for marriage at the long term, even though she might have one or two child. I really think, like I said, if that woman is looking for a husband, and she will do anything to get that husband and do what the necessary things to get that husband, it's cool to date a single mother. Also marry a single mother as well. What she said? Go ahead.
No, she said if he has no kids, he has the right not to be with a single mother.
Yes.
Mother, though, I agree to that. Facts.
That is facts.
That is facts.
Shout out to Harris from Try Media Group. Shout out to Jess Hit Me Out. Shout out to our Realistic Vibe. Shout out to everybody that's watching us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitch.
Yep.
And
Sherry Bryant, Beautiful Billions.
Shout out to y'all. Sorry about the late delay. It's just but I can't use the background. Because that was happening to me. That's why I took that background off.
Yeah.
Just off it, because it sucks up to my memory. Yeah, that was a lot of people have issue when it comes, and Just Hit Me Out. I think he asked me a question. He said, "Have I ever dated a married woman or an unmarried woman?" Most of the women I dated was not married. I never dated a divorced woman. I'm just being honest. I never had that experience. I know some people had that experience. I'm one of those guys. I never dated a divorced woman. That's my personal experience. Now, when it comes to the aspect of the single mothers, I would say, to me, to each his own. There is some men who have enjoyment, who have the pleasure of dating single mother, and they have best results. I'm one of the guys that, I had some good and some bad, so I could talk about both worlds, because there's some women that's very sweet. They know how to manage their child, they know how to manage the situation, and they know how to manage their baby daddy to the point that they say, okay, I'm going out with Ron, so make sure you take care of the kids because I'm going out with him this Saturday night. So there's some women that do have that, but I have some cases where the woman have badass kids. She don't know how to discipline the child. The child's all over the place, and she don't even get along with the baby father. So it could be a hell of a mess. But to me, I think when it comes to the aspect of dating a single mother, I think a man should date a woman that's very mature and very well-rounded. But I love motivation, vision on the aspect is if you're a single man, you have no children, don't let somebody force you to date a single mother if you don't want to. You have that right. Go ahead, I can.
I want to say something before you go, and I want to say the one thing too, and it kind of helped me growing up as too. And my mom was really good with it. You know, she had a lot of male role models that was in my life and in Jalen's life, and for that, you know, that kind of helped us and say, hey, even though my mom was a single mother, you know, my mom, you know, had help, with my uncles, my granddad, and even my brother's dad as well. You know, he used to, pop in on all the time too, and help us with that. And I feel like, if a woman has a strong foundation with, men's in her life, fathers, uncles, brothers, whatever, I think that's another another thing that men should look at as well. Go ahead, Akeem.
I want to look at the statement Sherry Bryant. Shout out to Sherry Bryant. She said, I have 2 kings, but I've always preferred a man with no kids. That's the sentiment of a lot of women. Now, Miss Bryant, I want you to answer before I reply. I want you to answer, why is that? Why do you prefer a man with no kids?
Because they don't have to deal with the baby. They don't have to deal with the baby mamas.
And what about the men dealing with what about the men dealing with the baby daddies?
Men tend to not get into other men's personal affairs. There's only a crazy man that will get into another man's personal affairs. The majority of men say, you want her, you can have her. They literally tell you that.
So first I want to put a disclaimer out here.
Yes.
Because I don't want nobody to get misconstrued. You're going to see this in the recording. We're not saying dating single mothers is a problem. We're not saying that. I want to say that. I want to put that preface in. We're not saying that they don't have value. We're not saying that they should not be dating. We're not saying none of that. And I just want people to understand the topic. Why do men take heat for not dating single mothers? And before we get into this monologue, she said it's less drama from my experience. Now, Sherry, you say you hit it on the nail. Now, Sherry, if you date a man with no kids, are you willing to give him kids? That's where the big question comes in.
And also, would you treat that man like you give you kids as well?
Basically.
Because what that man is doing that's a lot of money to be spent. He's going to be spending some money.
Basically, you know what I mean? He has to come. He has to come. A lot of his money is in his resources, his finances, his legacy is going to be invested into your kids. Are you willing to give him kids? Now, I also want to preference this. It says, hey, for the record straight, I married a single mom, so I have earned my credentials. Shout outs to Just Hear Me Out.
No, but you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stepfathers. Yeah, my father was a stepfather. I'm saying it's a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
My dad was one as well. My dad was. Oh, she said I'm willing. So with that said, then that's one aspect we don't even have to talk about. Since you're willing to have more kids, then everything is okay. Now I want to put this to a preference. Motivation, motivating visions. Mentioned something earlier I want to read. And she said, my dad married a woman with 4 kids, and they just celebrated 16 years of marriage. All the kids now are grown, and they'll forever be my family. Now, your dad already had kids. Depending on what stage of life you are in, a man could preference to want to be with a particular type of woman. And the thing about it is, some of those preference might be out of the scope of certain women. But I know when women do hear these preferences, it tends to feel like it's an attack when it's not. You know what I mean? My dad purposely wanted me to get married. This is what he's always preached to me. He said, I want you to have your own family. I don't want you to go through what I went through. And depending on what he meant by that, you have to be built a certain kind of way to come in and love kids that are not yours. And here's the thing, though. You also have to be willing to endure the experiences of being with somebody who kids are not yours. Because here's one thing I could tell you. Everybody who I've dated who had kids, I can't. As soon as the relationship is over, the kids don't never talk to me again. How hurtful is that? Very hurtful. Kids you probably paid for summer camp, you probably looked at help raise, you did this and that. Where do we go from there? There's some of these kids who I grew an affinity for, but after the relationship is over, you put on block. We don't want to talk to you no more. Even if the relationship is amicable, I'm not able to talk to him no more. I got a love for a lot of them, but they don't call and check on me. They don't call me on my birthdays. They don't see if I was sick when I was in the hospital for my surgery and all of this. Not, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just speaking from a point of where somebody might feel like, hey, I don't want to go through that pain of dealing with somebody and then it could easily be taken away from me because it's not my child. Go ahead.
Hey, and what you say, Hakeem, is totally correct, because that's what I want. Like I said, with my wife having my own kids, you know, and I want to make sure my hard work is spoken into words. That's just me, you know. I want my hard work spoken into words, and when they go to graduate from middle school, high school, college, whatever, you know, I want to make sure my stuff is imprinted, especially if you got my last name. Go ahead.
No, but I'm saying if you're a guy and you dating someone's you dating a single mother and you taking responsibility for that kid because the father, quote unquote, is in the absent. To me, I think you need to go to the courthouse and do something and sign over that right and make it your child now, because the simple fact you taking the full responsibility of taking care of that child. That's just an FYI out. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of men. A lot of men doing a lot of responsibility the other man is doing. So when the other man comes back, the man feeling, oh, damn, I did all this work. So to avoid all that from happening, you and her go in the courthouse, sign all the rights over to you, and then now you become the father. So you get, that'll be a dumb ditto. That's just my personal opinion on that. Go ahead, okay.
I'm gonna add a question to you. I'm gonna go another step to the round. I got a question for y'all. Do you feel like if that's the case, should a stepfather should take a necessary step to have the change that last name to his last name?
Yes.
Yeah.
My dad did it. Yes.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a firm component. If I'm with you, I'm taking care of your kids. I'm spending money in the house, and I'm doing this. And we're married. Their last name got to be changed to mine. You feel what I'm trying to say?
And some women mind it too. They don't mind doing it. Go ahead, Hakeem.
They don't. I've always said one thing I'm always going to preference is this, and I want to give another disclaimer. You can't help who you fall in love with. Let's just put that out there. You cannot help who you fall in love with. Black men has never had no issues dating single mom. These niggas that talking on YouTube, I don't know them. That's new. That's new. Like they go hammer time on that. You feel me? We've never had no issue in the hood growing up. Some of these kids being raised, and I could preface this and tell you this, from the 80s and the 90s, growing up with dudes who I grew up with, they believe their fathers. That conversation never gets out. Them dudes, some of them ain't never been the father, but dudes are there and hold it down. And they make sure stuff that's on the point of what do the man wants? And that's his preference. You know what I mean? So the point that I want to get is this. Sherry Bryan, you say some good things, and speaking from a perspective that you can, she said, you know what I mean? She said, my children are respectful, so that makes a big difference. The question that I have is this, and this is something that I know you can't force kids to love the stepfather. And this is where sometimes, and I'm only telling you what other men like us, we talk in the war room. It's a lot of us who talk in the war room. It's a lot of guys who I know who are single with no kids. And I'm only going to express to them what they say. And I want you to say, that's why I say it is easier if you are a single mother and willing to have kids for the guy. But if you're not, a lot of people got to remember these guys got family members. Your kids have a grandmother. Your kids have a grandfather. The man who you date, he has a mother and father, sisters, aunties. Do there ever be point of time where your kids are going to be close to the man who you with family. And this is where the blending of family comes and stuff like that. And going back to saying, the people who I've dated, I never was even able to get close to the other kid's family, and they've never even been able to get close to mine. Especially if you're a man who comes from a very close-knit family, who you the person you want to bring your family around. How does that work? Sometimes kids are so fixated on their fathers that you're just in a relationship with the man and the kids are separate from that. And they say, okay, yeah, that's your husband, mama, but we got our own daddy and our own cousins and aunties. But the man is with you. What's going to tie y'all together? Go ahead.
I want to say something. The comment you made about how some of these YouTubers are saying don't sleep with baby mothers. Some of them are super duper hypocritical. You know why? Because they say one thing, but they actually be sleeping with baby mothers or taking another far getting these baby mamas pregnant.
Yeah. And look at it from this perspective. There is a famous YouTuber who railroaded single mothers, and he is with in a relationship long term, kept her child a secret.
Yeah, because remember, see, this is the thing. People, a lot of men gotta understand. Even though you're dating a single mother, it's really not your obligation to take care of that child. And I think that's what people get them misconstrued from, because they think, oh, I'm being a single mother. It's my responsibility about it, the Pampers, the diapers, the baby food, make sure the baby go to the doctor's appointment. No, it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to build a relationship with that woman. And then later on, if y'all find out going further within the relationship, I mean, like y'all in a year or a couple of months in, then y'all can have a conversation. Okay, it's time for me to meet the child. But if you just first meeting that woman, I don't think guys should pressure themselves like, oh, I want to meet your kids too. And I think that's what a lot of guys mess up at. And that's why a lot of guys tend to get attached to the child. So when the child's gone, the guy's heartbroken.
But
so go ahead, again.
You're right. Listen, let's also talk about this. I'm gonna just put the cat out the bag. You have a lot of men who are already ready-made daddies.
Oh, you're talking about Donovan Stark.
Yeah. You know, I didn't want to mention his name, but I want to preface this. There's a lot of men who are with single mothers. They just built like that. They already ready-made daddies. Ready-made, like they come in, they already handling business. You got other men who just not built for that. You know what I mean? Some men who haven't been under the tutelage.
Hey, Big Bad Boy, what's happening? You know, over there with the drummer? Big Bad Boy, what's going on? Shout out.
The Bull.
The Mod Father.
He's in there.
He been listening in the cloud. Okay, Big Bad Boy, I see you, man. I see you. I see you been in the clouds, but go ahead.
Yeah. So also look at it from this point. There's a lot of guys who can't have kids, who are like there was. It's funny you say this. There was a guy on Anton's show. It was a white guy. This is the only person I heard say that. He himself already said that he didn't want no kids. He said, I don't want them at all. He said, but he didn't mind being with a single mother. He said that was his preference. He would date a single mom, come in their life, and this and that, and do that. And I thought it was very interesting that he was the only person out of all that who said that. All the other black guys on there, some of them who was with single mothers, the guy with the beard, but he said he didn't want his son to go to do that. You feel what I'm trying to say? So it's all a preference point. I just want to try to say that we need to have a more cohesive conversation on how we're going to go about this and understand what the situation is going to be. What's going to work well for you? And what are you willing to compromise for the guy who's going to come in this situation to be in a relationship with you?
Natasha had a question, which was a good question. Say single parent shouldn't date until their kids are 18 plus.
Woo, I didn't say it.
I kind of disagree with her, but I'm gonna tell you why. And they say, where are they even find the time and the day in this day and age? But that's why I disagree with her, because at the end of the day, you're still dealing with a human being who still have needs and wants. So I think you shouldn't stop somebody to stop dating or to have someone they can have a companionship with because of the aspect of a child. That's why I disagree with her on that aspect. And like I stated before, I don't think it's a man's responsibility to take care of that child. If you're dealing with a woman that's single, a single mother, or even a father, it's not your duty to make sure that, oh, I got to make sure the child is taken well care of, because it's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to deal with the person you just dating with that you might have potential on marrying. Go ahead, I can go ahead.
I want to say what I can. And for me, there's always an option of this too. And you, if you want to talk to your lady about this, one as well. There's always an option to say, hey, you know, if a man feels like, you know, if a man feels like if the child or the woman might be feel the better child might be maybe go live with the baby father. And you know, that's an option, you know. If you feel like, yeah, I want to talk to you, like the baby mother say, hey, you know, maybe, you know, if he's not working well with the mother, maybe he's better off living with, you know, the father. And then, like I said, you could, like I said, after that, move the kid with the father, and then you can start, you know, having kids, you know, get married, long-term relationship, have kids as well. I just want to put that options out there as well.
I'm about to say something that's gonna be real. I got to take it back to the streets. What I'm about to say gonna hurt people's feelings.
Oh, you gonna put the mask on, ski mask. Uh-oh. He about to get serious.
Okay. I had to put this on. To let you know what's going on. In my days, back in the jungle, ladies, I need y'all to listen to me. This is why it's important to date the type of man that is a reflection of what you're looking for. You know what they used to say back in the days? What they used to tell younger guys coming up about single mothers? Holler at them because they easy to fuck. She got so much on her plate. She ain't gonna ask you for too much. And if you smart enough, you come later. You can only come at night because she don't want you to see the kids. You finesse the game, you'll be able to fuck. If you smart. You give a couple dollars, buy a couple groceries, go in there, a sneaker or two. Is given to you on a silver platter, and he's out by Christmas. This is why a person will use your disposition against you. You have a lot of men that do that. Yes, with the kids in the house. I
can't get online. I've seen that.
I'm about to even go back. I'm not even pull up the ghetto Bible now. What niggas used to tell me, older men. Make sure you get a woman who kids' daddies are not in her life. Preferably, she has multiple kids from different niggas. The sack is easy. You come in there playing Shining Nining Armor. He said, but I'm going to tell you one thing, young blood. Never hit that hoe raw. Because you'll be trapped. Even the men who use women, they don't want to build no life with no single mother. It's bad to say that, and it's sad. Because I know a situation happened in your life. You're not with the guy. Some of us, we can't even call y'all single mothers, or we can't even call y'all baby mothers. A lot of y'all was married. The relationship didn't work. The guy got up and left. We can't blame you for that. But you're coming into a very unique dating market with unique men. They're not built like they built in the 90s. In the 90s, you could just show up with a baby and was like, oh, there ain't nothing, bring the baby on. I went to high school with girls who had kids in high school, and most men didn't have no issue with that. It was nothing. The men with money did. The men with power. The men who have very strict religious values. They was like, nah, we're not doing that. This is why I say you can't hate on the regular guys who's willing to be with you and willing to date you. They don't have no issue with that. They love you just as way you is, just the way a man would love a chick who work at Checkers or Dunkin' Donuts, who served the coffee, 6 Splendors with almond milk in there for you. Wearing her bonnet in there with the headphones. We don't even have no problem with that. Damn, she cute with the bonnet on. Regular guys, we don't even question that. The men with power are going to say, nah, don't do that. Don't do that, young blood. Nah, don't do that. Go ahead.
No, that's facts. That was say a lot of men. I would say a lot of these men on YouTube don't really give men the real game because I was growing up around that too. Most of my men tell me straight up like, Rooney, you want an easy lay, deal with the single mothers. Believe that. They're not gonna ask you too much. They're not gonna ask you for too much. Nighties, what's going on? What's going on? What's popping? Yeah, they're not gonna ask you for too much. And that's the reality because a lot of men they always think that women with kids are mostly difficult to deal with. Not necessarily true. Sometimes a woman just wants you to come over late at night so she can just lay her head right on your chest. Fact.
I want to add that, and some of these women, like I said, some of these single mother is hard. It is a tough job. Shout out to these single women out there. And the thing is about it's like I said, if some women are desperate enough to say if they can get some type of help, they will do that transaction for you, food, clothes, money, whatever. They will transition that into sex because some women are like that because like I said, a single mother is very, very hard work. And some women do get desperate like that and say, I would say anything. If I can open my legs up, you give me something like that. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say.
Just hear me out. You're 100% right. The girl at Checkers did touch me in a way. Because listen here. I'm a provider. I'm a man. I'm going to go out there and work regardless. What I want is something feminine. What I want is somebody that's going to care and cherish me and willing to serve me the way I'm willing to serve them. You know what I mean? As I build my relationship with God every day, I understand the assignment. Whatever the assignment that he wants me to do, I'm going to do it. But the thing is, the woman who I'm with got to understand the assignment as well. Some women make themselves extra vulnerable. When they do this with kids, it's inexcusable. Natasha Vincent, you're 100% right. And I'm going to tell you something, Natasha. The more kids a woman have, the more vulnerable she gets. Because here's the thing. And this is something that a lot of you women won't know because y'all not in the dating market looking for women with kids. We bump into them. We see them at the mall, at the park with the kids. We're doing something. Most women with 1 or 2 kids or 3 or 4, or even the ones with 5, in their situation, they're always going to, thank you, Queen. They're always going to feel that nobody loves them enough. They're going to feel very insecure about that, especially the ones who dealing with kids with autism, the ones who are on the spectrum. And the dad is not even around. I seen something that broke my heart the other day. And I know she just probably looking for somebody to alleviate the stress because the man just left. A man has a man has to be very emotionally and mentally built for that. A lot of these men ain't built for that, and mainly the ones with the money. Mainly the ones with the money. Mainly the ones who can alleviate a lot of your stress. They just don't want to get in. They just don't want to sign up for that. We're not talking about the 80% of the regular guys. They don't mind doing that. And I'm just saying that, and I'm always preference this. You can always get a man who you love and get a man to do what you want, depending on how you present yourself and what you're willing to compromise. This is what we're trying to say. Compromising in any relationship is the key in communication. Go ahead, fella.
No, that's what I think. That's what I told you. I think that's what I say. Single mothers, I don't think they should not stop dating, because a lot of people say they should stop dating, take care of your child, take care of the responsibility. That's why a lot of them single mothers go crazy, because you're taking away something that could kind of keep them functioning, keep them stuff going. Because at the end of the day, dealing with kids is very, very stressful, especially dealing with a man that's not very understanding. That don't know the game, don't know how to talk to women, don't know how to like be there for you when you need him to be there for you. So that's why I say let the woman continue to date. I don't have a problem with this single mother date. You know, I think they just be careful and not let every guy around your child and learn how to manage that. That's the only thing in my thing, because there's a lot of sickos out here.
Go ahead, Jordan, because I want to comment on that.
No, go ahead. I want to hear you. Go ahead.
Now, you are right. You are right. Now, I want to preface and talk about, because Natasha said that statement for a reason. And she is very right about this. If you are a woman who do not have good judgment and you do not know how to screen your men, you should not be dating with kids. Y'all fellas remember, 4 to 5 years ago, there was a string of kids getting unalived by the boyfriends. By the boyfriends. A lot of these kids were getting SA'd and all of this stuff. And this is what she said. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good to date. Sometimes if you don't know how to articulate to understand if this man is going to accept your situation. This is why I'm about to say something too. After I read the statement, I'm gonna let y'all fellas go. Sherry Bryant said, I only date men who are financially set because I am. I never had that issue with a man with money. You are the lucky one, Sherry Bryant. And I'm gonna be very honest with you, Miss Bryant. You're not ugly. You are a looker. You are a looker. That plays a big part. You know what I mean? You're very attractive. So men who are financially set want a certain caliber of woman too. You know what I mean? Now I want to preface this and say this. Most women who gets a raw deal dating with kids, or a lot of our women that are very lower socioeconomic situations, because the plethora of men is not an abundance. You feel me? Rich men are not going to the ghetto to pick up single mothers. If you're a single mother and you have an education, you might have a higher chance of meeting somebody, preferably at your workspace, who may be going through a divorce or something, and y'all can make some stuff happen. You know what I mean? But it is imperative that when she say, if you're a person who don't have a good judgment of character, you might have to wait till your kids get out the house, because we have too many examples. Go ahead.
Or if you're not a good judgment of character, there's an option of maybe your tube size as well.
Ooh.
I just want to add that on there as well.
Ooh. You're in your bag today.
Tasha asked me a question. Said, "What exactly supposed to keep a single mother functioning?" It's the aspect of keeping her living, keeping her alive. Like some women just don't like to be tied up in the house all day. Some women actually want to have a social life, want to go on own dates. I didn't talk about sex too much, because at the end of the day, sex is just like a plus. But some women want to have literally still have that social life, want to still, of course, take the responsibility of the child, but they still want to go out, go to the movies, go out to dinner, go see family members. They can't do that if her whole life is just tied up being in the house and take care of the child. That's why a lot of women, you got to do studies. Studies show that a lot of women today in today's society are doing a lot of harm to these kids. I'm
gonna say this, Ronnie. I think it's the majority of women, because you see all these social medias and everything. Women love to have fun in general.
Exactly. Facts.
That's every woman. They want to have some type of fun. Like I said, Ronnie said, clubs, to the movies, anywhere, traveling, anywhere. They want to have fun. So I get why women want to do that.
And as they should, because remember, taking care of a child is like a job. You just cannot just take care of, like, you remember, you're taking care of a small human being who doesn't know from right from wrong, to left from right. So you as the mother is the one that you teaching them, especially when you single. I mean, the father is nowhere in
Yeah.
sight. To me, I say go ahead, say, hey, your grandma, or your brothers or somebody say, hey, just take the child from me just for a couple of hours. Let me just get my hair right. Let me just go get my nails done, do something so I can have some, some sense. Because if not, the woman's gonna go crazy and the child gonna be all right. And a lot of people are like, wow, that woman should have had a social life. Go ahead, King.
Just hear me out. Said I did the math. 4 of my last 9 of my cousins who got married, there were 5 to 15 years younger. They all married single mothers. They all had no kids themselves. Now they had kids since then. Definitely, that's not a problem. That's a template that could work. And I'm gonna comment from this. There are people with money and people with assets. The former alone can be deceptive. The latter leads to affluence if that's your goal. When people think about a man and his aspirations, every man's aspirations are different. When a man thinks of his legacy and thinks of his last name and thinks of the family he wants to raise, he wants to go about it in a certain kind of way. And the thing about it is, depending on what your goal is, that your vision is your vision, which shouldn't be no issue. You know what I mean? And then I'm always go back and preference in this. You can't help who you love, but the expectation is set at what it should be, and people just need to just understand that. And you know what I mean? So we're saying that there are tons of men who wants to be with people, but it's just there are other men who have a different vision of what their family life is. You know what I mean? I've been through some hurtful situations, some real hurtful situations that I still keep in my mind. That's why I say, you know what I mean? And then ask a person who's been through that, does he wants to go through that again? You know what I mean? Being with somebody, being with them for 2 to 3 years, seeing the kids go to school, get up in the morning, leave, for the relationship to dissolve and you have no ties to them. They can't call you. You know what I mean? Sometimes you see them on the street, you scared to speak to them because you don't want to offend the person you with. There was a kid who I date, a person who I dated in my 20s. And you know what I'm trying to say? I seen the kid one time at a auto store. And I was like, damn. And you know, the funny thing is he called me by my first name. He said he called me Mr. And then he said Mr. and that and gave me a hug. And this is the hurtful thing about that situation. And I'm just expressing this. I ain't see this person in years. And in years, I've thought about him. And to see him a grown man, to know that he has kids of his, he has a child of his own, that 6 degrees of separation is a point that still stuck with you and say, damn, this shit ain't even work out. So I didn't even get a chance to even watch him grow. He didn't even, you know what I mean, when he used to talk to me and ask me questions and was fascinated by who I am, I don't even get that no more. You know what I mean? So when you get older and you start to think about your life and you start to go and say like, hey, I want to care for people. I'm a caring person. I love people. And I love my women. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, but when you get into this relationship and you're a person who love and that broken up, nobody else want to go through that pain, especially if you're a person who gives their heart up. Go ahead.
Hey man, I wanted to attest to that. There was a guy that my mom dated, and it was around between the ages of between 1 to 5, and I'm sure a close bond with him, but they got married at the time, and a year later they got divorced, and then after that, I didn't see him no more, and I didn't really, and then that's how I talked to him was, the first time I got contact with him was back in 2019 or 2020. And once I, found out his last name and I hit him up, and he was ecstatic. He said, "You can call me real quick." And then once I talked to this man, it was just like old time. It's just like we just connected just like that. And it was just like, like, wow, even though I haven't talked to this man for like 25, 24 years, and just to say, hey, you call me, and how ecstatic he wants to talk to me, like, it's like, it was a good feeling. It's like, it was like a relief of fresh air, It's like he was thinking about me all that time and finally connected and everything.
No, but that's true. That was people have stories, man. People have a lot of stories. And the times I of course, anytime I don't mind answering any questions, but that was at the end of the day, you're right. That's the choice they made, and they got to deal with the consequences. It is consequences when you have kids. That's just what it is. It's going to become hard. It's going to become rough. There's going to be some man I ain't going to find you try to. You may not go to late night vibe. You might not be able to go to that club that you used to go to every Saturday night because things are different now. And I think that's why it hurts a lot of women, because when they realize when they wake up that, hey, this man who I thought he's gonna be with me, quote unquote, for the rest of my life is gone, and now I don't have that life that I once had. That's what's eating them up inside, and that's why I say, that also Hakeem, I can relate to your story. That's why I say That's why I say I tend to not, when I date a single mother, I tend to not get too close to the child. I learned my lesson from my last result. I would say if I'm dealing with a single mother, I just deal with the mother and not the child. Now, if I'm planning on marrying this woman or trying to build a family with this woman, or I want this woman to have my baby, then that's why I try to get to know the child. But until then, it's just me and the mother. I don't have nothing to do with the child. I don't want the child not even near my family, because that strong attachment, and man, we tend to attach our things very, very strong. And that's why I try to stay away from that.
No, you're 100% right. Sherry, it's difficult. You could be friends with somebody as long as you want. But if the person is a loving person, a man is never, most men, we cry in the dark and we cry to our homeboys. We never going to tell you that shit mess with us. And we're so much of a deep thinker that it wraps our head around a number of times. People like, oh, I don't see Jit no more. Or I seen Jit the other day, or you might pull up and see him on this one. This is why a lot of us had checked out from that part of the dating scene, because it's hurtful, because there's a lot of nuances with it. Because you want to know why? If we raised to love, we're gonna automatically love. And some women know when they got a good man, because the way he love on your kids and the way you love on him, you know what I mean? Like, I automatically, the people who I have dated, I automatically was like, oh no, this is I say the Jit. I used to be like, when I connected with the Jit, I said, oh, this, if we lock in, the Jit mine. I say he ain't Haitian, but he Haitian now. This is what I used to say. I said he ain't a Zoe, he's a Zoe now. He can't speak the language, he gonna learn because he's under my tutelage now. But you took that away from me now. I done been through too much where people done take away from me now. I can't go through it no more. I can't. Now, I'm not saying that your own kids can't do that to you, but we know that if there's a connection there, a bond that can't be broken, the person gonna come back around, child or no child. But what I've noticed, even if a child if he hates his own biological father, he's always gonna come around. Go ahead.
And I want to say this, especially to the audience, and and to people that's gonna watch this. Talk about my experiences, what Ronnie is saying, and what Hakeem is saying. You're not gonna hear anything like this. How we breaking down experiences?
No.
How Ronnie and Hakeem bonded with somebody's child, or me bonded with somebody that that wasn't my father, but through those ages between 1 and 5, because I know that's like the important parts. When you bond with important parts of if a man's the father of the child, that bond is there, and it don't go away. It stays there. It stays like it stays there forever. It don't go away. It don't.
I'm speaking facts. That was I don't really have a final thought on it, because at the end of the day, I just realized that you're a grown man. You make your own decision. If you choose to date a single mother, just know it comes with responsibility, and that's how you want to deal with the responsibility. Because remember, at the end of the day, like Natasha said, it's your choice. That's my take on
Yeah,
that.
my take on it. Hakeem said earlier, know who you are. You know, if you built on getting a single mother with kids, do that.
Yeah.
Or if you're on my route, you know, you can't date or marry a single mother. If you want to, you know, if you're single, you have no kids, you want to better your legacy and find a woman that has no kids and build on that. That's totally fine. You know, you just got to find out, you know, what your attributes are. You know, if you can deal with a single mother or you can deal with a woman that has no kids. That's my take on that.
My thing is communication. And it's imperative to communicate to the person who you're talking to, and let them know what your fears are, and hopefully she can understand where you're coming from. You know what I mean? Sometimes if you present it right enough, a person could sway his idea from not, if there's certain components about it that to be that. Sherry Bryan said that conversation that should be had before dating. 100%. That's what I'm saying. Ken Dog said this is a very touchy subject. It is. We need to have this because a lot of our young brothers who might come across this, who listening, we need to preface this and telling them what you get into. If you're built for this, no pressure. And we're telling the woman, understand the man who you're going to get, what he has to go through to be with you. And how can you make the transition easy for him to be in a relationship with you, knowing you got kids? You know what I mean? Knowing that these are your kids, and what are you going to make this situation so he can feel like, okay, this is your family too. The conversation has to be had with the kids as well. If the person chose to be in a relationship, hey, Mr. Hakeem is here. I don't know how y'all feeling. I chose him to be my man. He's going to be your daddy now. You might not like to hear this, but if he's paying the rent in the house and you want him to be that provider, he's your kid's dad. He's your daddy, not the father. You feel me? So we need to understand that. And from that point, we can move on. That's my point.
And I would say it's so very important to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell on the right hand side. Remember, we do go live each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Shout out to everybody that came to pretty much join in the chat. Shout out to Big Bad Bull, Ken Doll, Cherry Bryan, Natasha Vincent, on Just Hear Me Out, Motivating Vision. Who else? We have people that's watching us on Instagram, also people that are watching us on Facebook, also watching us on Rumble as well. Shout out to Fresh Sound Florida, shout out to Urban Noah, shout out to Jabari, shout out to everybody that continue to watch us each and every week. We do greatly appreciate it because we're on our way to 1K subscriber. We're on our way to, getting that bag. Our hard work is going to finally pay off. And guys, make sure y'all go in the KI Culture Radio community, in the community tab. In the community tab, there's a KI Culture Radio t-shirt because our merch is there. And also Prince Hakeem new book, Black Love. Come over here and support the platform. We really do greatly appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in to KI Culture Radio. Of course, let's go Heat because they playing tonight at 8:30 Eastern time. Go check out my team, the Heat, beat Denver Nuggets again. Hey, that was it. And we'll see you guys again on Friday.
Definitely.
Thank you guys for tuning in to KI Culture Radio. We over and out.
Peace.